Hey everybody, it's Monica with Fit Eats Coach. Welcome back to Deadlift Movement Plan Week 3 workout. This workout is time efficient, metabolic, intense, and fun, and we're using a variety of fitness gear so you'll be able to do these moves no matter what kind of gear you have. It's a continuous interval circuit, so let's get started. All right, so this workout is a continuous interval training workout. That means that you're moving nonstop for 14 minutes straight, no breaks. And how you do that is you're working in 30-second intervals and you're allowing yourself about 5 seconds to transition between sides or between exercises. So for example, with this single arm row, I'm going to do about 25 seconds. I'm watching my clock, that's right there on my box. And then I'm going to take 5 seconds to switch to my other side and just keep going. So the goal of this workout is to keep moving and not take any breaks. Even if you really want to take a break, just don't do it. So if this is your first time doing continuous work circuits, then something that you may want to do is add a 10-second transition time. So maybe work for the 30 seconds, add 10 seconds interval to transition between exercises. That might help you to get used to transitioning faster between exercises. All right, next up we have our squat hop ball toss with a reverse lunge knee slam. So you're just moving back and forth between this. And notice how I'm not rushing. You don't need to rush to get your heart rate up, to really get some good work done. You're trying to have really good form and just be consistent with the tempo that you've chosen for yourself. Some people can move through an exercise like this a whole lot faster, and that's great. And other people need to slow it down, and that's also fine. Work at a pace that is right for you and use a weight that's right for you. If you don't have a ball, you can use a sandbag, you can use a dumbbell. Just don't slam it into your knee because that will hurt. All right, next up we have our single leg deadlift into a plank kickback. We're doing it with a suspension trainer, but this could easily be modified using a chair or a bench. So you would just prop up your back foot onto a bench or chair, and then you would do the exact same movement. You just have to be a little bit more careful when you're raising your leg up behind you, not to hit the bench or the box. And also notice how this isn't really like a lunge version of this. So you're really hinging at the hip to reinforce that deadlifting pattern. You're taking your hands all the way down to the floor, almost like a forward fold in yoga. And then you're trying really hard to stay in that plank as you kick that leg up. Now, there are other variations of this exercise that I'll be showing throughout the video. But these are the 3 main patterns that we're working here. And already we're going back to our squat toss, reverse lunge knee slam. So we're starting to repeat, and you're going to see some of these movements repeating, but then you're going to see different versions of them that you'll be able to pick and choose. So maybe you're not liking a version that you're seeing at the start, and you can change that up. You can come back and forth between any of the moves at any point. You just have to keep moving. That's the point of the workout. All right, now what if you don't have a suspension trainer to do this single arm row? You can attach a band to something like a super band and do single arm rowing. You can do heavy rowing with a dumbbell, with a sandbag, with a kettlebell. It doesn't have to be the suspension trainer. I just happen to really love it because it's easy to transition from side to side, and you're getting like total body rowing, which is really great for some of the things that I enjoy doing. But like I said, you can modify this workout to work with whatever gear you have. Notice how I'm going a little bit deeper. On the next round, we're going to go so deep that we're actually going to practically sit on the floor as we're doing this exercise. Now, here we're switching up that medicine ball exercise that you saw earlier. So we're coming into that deadlift pattern and we're doing our reverse lunge with a bit of a twist, and you're just shaking that Tidal tank from side to side, which adds a lot of core activation. It really works your arms and your glutes. I always find when I use a Tidal tank that my biceps get incredibly sore and they don't get sore from a whole lot of other work that I do, including pull-ups, including heavier, dumbbell curls. So the Tidal tank is pretty amazing for working your biceps. All right, now we're going back into our single leg deadlift plank, and notice how there's a bit of a variation here. So instead of doing that really high glute kickback, we're just tucking that foot right into the other leg. So it's a little bit different of a plank movement, and we're adding a little bit of overhead arms to challenge the core stability. But this is an easier version than the previous one because you're not having to really raise that free leg as far up. So if you're maybe in between, like a intermediate to advanced, this is a really good version of the exercise to kind of get used to, starting to kick that leg all the way up behind you into that really high glute kickback. Now we're going right back into our single arm row. So we kind of skipped our in between exercise that we've been doing, but we're going to add it in at the end. Notice how deep I'm going. I'm practically touching the floor with my backside. There is actually a few times where I sit all the way down. This is like full body row, and it does work your legs and core as well. So again, you're going 30 seconds. You're not going to get a whole lot of repetitions, but because you're going through this circuit over and over and over, by the end of the circuit you will have done tons of reps, and you will absolutely be feeling like you got an amazing metabolic strength workout. Now right after this, we're going back to the Tidal tank, or like I said earlier, you can do the medicine ball if you prefer. I was kind of switching it up. I was trying to do maybe like 2 of each piece of fitness gear. You're gonna see a few other pieces of fitness gear come out as we go through this workout. I really love the Tidal tank. At the end, we're going to add some halos to this, and the Tidal tank is one of those tools that it's really fun to work with, but you have to be really careful that you're engaging your core and that you're keeping really good foot position. So as you're lunging back, make sure that your toes are pointing forward, that your foot is not flaring out to the side, and that you're really sinking into that deadlift pattern. So you're hinging at the hips and touching that Tidal tank all the way to the floor. All right, we're going back to our single leg deadlift plank, and we're going to add a little bit of a hop to this. So notice how now I'm just hinging at the hip, tapping the floor with my fingertips, and then adding a little bit of a hop. I'm even kind of raising my arms overhead. I'm not hopping that high, but it does feel like cardiovascular, and you're getting a little bit of work in your calves, and you're definitely strengthening that deadlift pattern, working on your glutes, working on your hamstrings and your core. One thing that can really help you with your balance if you're struggling like I am right now is to try to keep the working side aligned directly in front of the anchor point. So it's when you get off to the side of the anchor point that the suspension trainer kind of pulls you around, and also it helps to really engage through your core as you're folding forward. If you forget to do that, that's when you really start to lose your balance. Of course, if you're working with a chair or a bench or a box, it's not going to be as much of a problem, but it can still be a problem to lose your balance. All right, we're going into a modified muscle up. So we've switched from a single arm row into a more regular row, but we're going all the way to the floor. And notice how one leg is straight, kind of in that pistol squat position. I'm going to do 30 seconds with one leg out in front, and then I'm going to switch and do 30 seconds with my other leg out in front. The legs are getting a little bit of work, but mainly you want to be rowing and then using your triceps and your glutes at the very top to really pull yourself almost through those straps. If you don't have this, then what you would do is maybe some lat pull downs using a band, or you would do a really wide stance row with 2 dumbbells instead of 1. Now here we've switched over to a kettlebell upright row reverse lunge. So this is very similar to all the other moves with your Tidal tank, with the medicine ball. But a kettlebell is more compact, so it feels more intense when you're pulling it up like that. All right, now we are 10 minutes into this workout and we have about 4 minutes to go. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I have not cut anything from this workout. There is absolutely no editing. So this is start to finish as I did it. And this is pretty much the point of continuous work circuits or continuous interval training, is to not get caught up in all these little details and to just keep working. If you go over on an interval, so be it. Maybe you went under, maybe you took too long to transition, maybe you forgot an exercise. Keep moving, keep doing it, keep trying to stay on top of it until it's over. Set a timer and don't stop until that timer is up. Now, you could go 20 minutes, but I find that doing this type of thing for about 14-15 minutes is great, and then maybe doing some cardio intervals, as you'll see at the end, is a really good fit with this. All right, we've moved on to our sandbag deadlift reverse lunge twist. Same movement pattern we've been doing this whole time, obviously now with a slightly different weight. The sandbag is an interesting weight. I find that I really enjoy it for certain things. For squatting, it's not my favorite, but I do like to show it in videos from time to time because I think it's important. Now, when I have all the weight in the sandbag, which is, I think, 75 pounds, that's when I really like squatting it and lunging it. But when it's really light like this, it kind of feels, I don't know, not quite as challenging as all the other pieces of fitness gear. So anyways, just thought I'd share that. Now, one thing that I had intended for this workout was to do Tabata intervals with each exercise. So we would have done 20-10 times 8 rounds of the single arm row or this modified muscle up row. And then we would have, done that for 4 minutes, moved on to the next exercise and done that as a 20-10 for 8 rounds and 4 minutes of work. But I thought that this worked better just because 12 minutes seems like too short of a workout, and 14 to 15 minutes of continuous work actually feels a lot more intense. They are both intense and they are both great options, but I find this to be a lot more challenging. All right, now notice how I've changed the position of the sandbag. I'm carrying it like a baby or a sack of potatoes, and it's working better for my deadlift pattern, but you might prefer the other version better. So like I said at the start, pick the gear that you are comfortable using, that you prefer to use, and then kind of hack, these exercises to work for your body. We all have very different bodies and different needs, and something that feels easy to one person might feel incredibly challenging to somebody else, and vice versa. So it's really all about knowing what works for you and what's going to get you to your optimum metabolic afterburn and your optimum strength and endurance. All right, as you can tell, I'm kind of slowing down here a little bit. I knew that this was going to be my last round. I was keeping track of the time. I knew how much each circuit kind of was taking me, and I knew I had been through this quite a few rounds, but I actually didn't know how long it had been. I was actually guessing. So if you're going to do continuous work circuits, be sure to set a timer. Maybe you want to set a timer like every 5 minutes, so you know that 5 minutes are down, 10 to go, 10 down, 5 to go. And you kind of have in your mind an idea of where you're at in the workout. I just a lot of times like to freestyle because sometimes I end up pushing myself. Not sometimes, actually quite often, I will push myself harder when I don't set a timer, which is kind of probably counter to a lot of other people. But I've been training since I was 14 and I'm 52 now, so I like to experiment with my workouts. And for me, setting a time limit, it does not work. So I feel like I work harder when I don't really know how much time is left. I kind of push myself, and then maybe I start to think, just by how I'm feeling that it's been long enough, and usually I'm correct. Now notice how on this last version of the deadlift reverse lunge with a Tidal tank, I'm adding a halo and I'm kind of giving it a bit of a push with my knee, and it's so amazing for opening up the shoulders. All right, now once you're done, you can add some rope flow, you can get on your cardio machine, you can go outside and do some sprints or just some walking, or you can finish up with maybe some yoga, some stretching, whatever works for you. I find that a flow rope adds a little bit of calorie burning, and it's really fun for mobility, and it's also really great for improving my skills for the sports that I like to do. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this video and it has been helpful. If you need more information about this workout and all the other workouts in the Deadlift Movement Plan, which is free, it's over at fiteatscoach.com, Be Healthy blog. And if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share. We'll be back soon with more exercises and tips to help you get your fittest body. Thanks for watching.